Hello, I'm Tilly and welcome to my garden. I just thought I'd give you a mini tour really of what's happening in my garden in July. There's a lot of things ready to be picked, a lot of things nearly ready to be picked, what's going right and what's going wrong in the garden. There are some things that are going quite wrong, so I'm going to show you what they are. So this is my Brassica's bed and I'm just going to cut some more of this dwarf curly kale. It's a really good producer. It's only a very small patch, just from here to here. There's 11 plants in there and we've already had a couple of really good pickings from this, and there is loads more to pick now. So it's brilliant for the amount of space it takes up. So it's really worth planting, and with it being dwarf, it doesn't go too high for your netting hoops. So that's our job today, picking that. Now what we've also got in here is the molehills. We've got a mole in the garden and it does like the Brassica bed. So another one there. And it's rife in there's another one here in my tomato bed. There's loads of molehills. I'll show you that. So this is the tomato bed, how it is at the moment, and it's looking really lush and green, and it's got lots of tomatoes growing in it. And my cucumber over that corner over there is doing really nicely. Lots of tomatoes coming on the hanging baskets, the tumbling toms. But the same as the Brassica bed, this bed has got loads of molehills. Now, my no dig bed, they're all supposed to be no dig beds. The moles don't seem to realise that, so I've got loads and loads of molehills on here, all the way around, just dug right up. And what this actually does, the no dig is to help. One of the things with no dig is to help prevent the weeds, but with the molehills digging up, what we tend to find is a lot of the weeds coming through, like you can see down here. This is a big molehill and this is the horsetail coming through, and more weeds here. So it brings up all the weeds and the dreaded horsetail. But this is my cucumber plant and it's got lots of lovely cucumbers coming on it. I mean, look at that, looks just beautiful. Lots and lots coming. So I'm really happy with how that's doing. The tumbling toms are looking fabulous. They actually do need a water. They look like they're dry, but they're not. They are actually quite wet in there. So they look drier than they actually are. So my tomatoes, my pepper, there's a pepper plant there, a little testing pepper plant. That's not the variety, that's my test pepper plant. And look down there, a little tomato growing. So molehills everywhere. So this bed is nearly a mass of molehills. They go all the way around the back as well. These are some peas that will be growing up the fence part soon. These are beans, and these are molehills. So more molehills. I'm going to have a word with the mole and remind him that this is a no dig bed, a no dig garden. You see the molehill down here, horsetail, because it just brings it all up. The horsetail is going to love the mole. And this is my other section in the garden of the tomatoes. So the tumbling toms, there's loads on there, and they are just starting to turn. This one obviously is a yellow one, but there are loads of tomatoes on there. See, this one here is just starting to turn as well. So we're just getting there. Look fabulous, don't they? There are lots of tomatoes on there. Now this one, I actually moved. It was over there, but it was actually getting too much shade just there. It doesn't seem like I've moved it far, but that corner there is quite shaded for most of the day. So this one needed a bit of sunlight, and this is the current one. So you can see the tiny little tomatoes on there. The little current ones, aren't they tiny? They're gorgeous. So, not grown this one before, so it's looking fabulous at the moment. So I've got tomatoes in various stages of growth, but they're all looking fabulous. All looking really nice. Got lots of sunflowers dotted around the garden for the insects and the bees. This is a bush sunflower, and it really does look lovely and produces lots and lots of flowers. Well, it's perfect for the insects. Little ladybird in there as well. More sunflowers over this side. That's another bush one, so that'll have loads of heads, sunflower heads on. Lots coming there. And here are the giant ones. So they are really tall, and they've still got a bit of growing to go yet. And next to these sunflowers is the conservatory with the tomato plants. And there's loads and loads of tomatoes in there. They look fabulous. They are all very green at the moment. So inside the conservatory, lots of plants in here. And lots of tomatoes. So we've got tomato plants in various stages, but loads of tomatoes that are coming along nicely. They are all green at the moment in here. So some smaller ones here, smaller plants, and some obviously the big ones. Now, I'm pinching the tops out of the tall ones as they get to the ceiling. So working my way through the conservatory, there's loads of tomatoes. And this variety is Moneymaker, and they are probably the most popular, the most common variety in the UK. They produce loads of lovely tomatoes, so really good producers. So really nice sized tomatoes. So lots of peppers starting to come, and this one is the one pepper that I bought, and there's a nice pepper on there. Although it's a small plant, it's got a pepper on it at least. So Neil's cutting some of that kale off. It's got quite a nice big box full there. But what I just wanted to show you was the courgettes, because they are doing really nicely. There's a couple down there. They're nearly ready to pick. I like to pick them when they're still quite small. But I've got four courgette plants, and there are lots and lots of courgettes on them, and we've already had loads of these plants. So the other two over here, all producing lots and lots of courgettes. So if you're growing these just to eat as they are, or just for yourself, one plant is plenty for most people. But I do canning, I do dehydrating, and I do a lot of preserving, and I do a lot of cooking for other people. So 4 plants for us will produce a lot, but they will all get used, because I really do cook a lot of meals. And over this side, we've got the beans. They are flowering, but they've got a lot more. These went in quite late. They've got a lot more growing to do yet. But looking nice. Going up the arch there. This is just a really simple arch. So I don't know whether I've showed you this bean support that I made. It's just 3 canes in the ground, so they're pushed in, with a couple of supports crisscrossing that way, and I've got one on that bed and one on that bed, and then at the top just put the thin water pipe over the top of the canes to make an arch. It really does hold them nicely, and then on each one is the hose, and then the whole lot is covered in this wire, just chicken wire, and it's just wrapped round and nipped together. And then as I tied the canes in with the raffia, it wraps around the wire as well and holds it a bit further. So really simple design, but it works so well, and it takes the 2 beds and makes a nice little feature through the garden. I like to raise the garden as much as I can. I like to have the garden on different levels, which is why I've got the fencing for the tomatoes, the raised beds over here on legs, the archway, the canes, just so many different levels. They're the compost heaps over that side. And then over here, on this side, is more beans, various stages. The kale, this is my sacrificial kale, because I put some under the netting here, which Neil is cutting. And then the extra plants that I had, I just put them in here and thought the insects, the butterflies, the pigeons can have them. And they did strip them. They were stripped right back at one point. There was just stalks. But there is actually eatable kale on there. Who could actually pick it and eat it. But that's left for the butterflies. And here are my broad beans. Now, I'm the only one in our family that likes broad beans, so I haven't grown very many, but I have had a few pickings off there already, and there's still quite a lot to come. So this is the boxes of kale that Neil's just cut. And because I was busy recording the videos, he did go a bit too mad. Cut a little bit more off than I would have liked, but it's okay. They'll come back. He did a similar thing last time he picked them, so that's okay. So that's where we're at now. From that big pile that was there growing, that's where we're at now. Like I say, I would have left a little bit more on, but that's fine. You can actually see a bit more now. Well, hopefully you can. How the molehills are grown. Well, been pushed up all through the beds. There's quite a lot of molehills, and you can see them a lot better now. So that now will grow more kale. So it's cut and come again. It'll come over and over again. Over this side we've got the Savoy cabbages, and they're coming along nicely. The heart is getting nice and firm now, so we're just starting to get the firmness in the middle, which is what we're after. On this bed we've got a big patch of celeriac. We absolutely love celeriac, so that's all doing really nicely, and all I've done is just planted it under here. I sown them indoors, so they was growing in my conservatory, then I transplanted them out here. And on this end of the bed I've planted sowed some more seeds for beetroot. Now unfortunately we have had tons of rain, so they may have got washed away or rotted, not sure, but I haven't even checked under there for those. On the bed over there we've got parsnips, we've got some leeks, and on this patch here, I'll just go round to that side, I've sown some carrots. This is carrots. I've got some spring onions growing up this end and some spring onions growing in here. I've taken a big patch of beetroot out of here. I had loads of beetroot that we picked, and that was beautiful, hence the reason I'm growing some more beetroot. So I've got various things dotted around the garden. In here I've just grown some peas. These are dwarf peas, and these are just 2 pallet ends just cobbled together with a brace. Put a bit of soil in it and put some peas in there, and they're doing nicely. So nice little dwarf peas. I'm not even going to stake them, just going to let them do the thing. And then a few in the tub there. One thing I do love to see in the garden is the ladybirds. I'm just starting to see quite a few of them. There hasn't been many about for a while, but they're starting to appear now, so that's brilliant. We like the ladybirds in the garden. They will help to keep the aphids down. So talking about the good bugs, I've just finished making this bug hotel. It's all made out of scrap wood, and I've got to hang it. So there is my bug hotel. So that's what I've been making today. So I need to get that hung up, wire over the top so the birds don't think it's their own little dining room. So that's where we're up to in the garden. That was just a quick mini tour really. Obviously we've always got the radish, the lettuce grown in this bed here, because they're just so quick and easy to grow, so we just have them on constant supply. So it'd be really interesting to see what you're growing in your garden in July and what you're actually taking out of the garden at the moment. I hope you enjoyed the little tour, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.